After Jesus performed the great miracle of multiplying the loaves and fish and feeding 5,000 men besides all the women and children, he asked his disciples to get into a boat and cross over to the other side. He went up into a mountain to pray. And after that, there was a great storm on the sea, but Jesus came to them walking on the water. Let's read about it from Matthew chapter 14, beginning at verse 23. And when he had sent the multitude away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there, but the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind was contrary. Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. When the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It is a ghost," and they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, "Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid." And Peter answered him and said, "Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water." So he said, "Come." And when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and began to sink. He cried out, saying, "Lord, save me." And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?" When they get into the boat, the wind ceased. Then those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, "Truly you are the Son of God." When they had crossed over, they came to the land of Nazareth. When the men of that place recognized him, they sent out into all that surrounding region and brought to him all who were sick, and begged him that they might only touch the hem of his garment, and as many as touched it were made perfectly well. And now here is Ari Bar David to tell us more about this great miracle of Jesus walking on the water, and also Peter walking on the water. But he sank, and Jesus lifted him up and said, "O you of little faith, why did you doubt?"
It's evening time now, and it's around 1 week before the Passover. And I'm under a high mountain, and the Sea of Galilee is here to my right. I'm exactly in the same situation that was when Jesus sent the disciples by night to take the boat and go to the other side. We have heard just about a storm and about what happened, but let us remind ourselves some events that happened before. First of all, John the Baptist was beheaded. Second, Jesus took the disciples to a place to be alone. Third, all the people in the city saw Jesus' boat coming, and they came by foot to meet him. Arriving here, he fed the 5,000 of them. All the four Gospels said it. After he fed them, it's written it was evening time. Evening time, he told the disciples, "Go to the other side, to Carpernaum. I want to be alone." And the next thing, the Lord climbed up to the mountain to be alone. When Jesus climbed to the mountain, it was already dark. The disciples waited down. They saw Jesus doesn't come. So they started rolling with the boat. In one place they said that they rolled several miles. And what happened as they started rolled, a strong wind came against their direction and took them away from the shore, which means deep into the sea. The storm grew bigger and bigger, and they were scared terribly. On the same time, the Lord was up on the mountain with his Father alone. Look, this started around 7 o'clock at night, just beginning to be dark. And the Lord, being up there, he could look down to the Sea of Galilee. It's so clear. and he could see the boat fighting against the storm, but he continued praying and being with his Father. The four Gospels tell us that only on the fourth shift of the night, which means after 3 o'clock, almost 4 o'clock in the morning or the next morning, the Lord went down. And what happened then? All the four Gospels says, then he was walking on the water to the direction of the boat. Let us, before we go on, see what is the principle here. The Lord knows our need. He knows our fightings. He knows the troubles that we pass. But He knows there is something more important. The time to be with the Father. How much we have to study it on our life. We see a lot of troubled people around us. Let them not take the peace that we have in the Lord. And we can have a peace in the Lord only if we give time to be with His peace. Look, the Lord left the mountain on the fourth, like they divide the night, into 4 portions. And this was the 4th part of the night. This is usually considered to be the most dark time of the night. And then He was walking on the water beside the boat. When they saw Him, some of them thought it's demons. I mean, they didn't believe it can be. But the Lord was telling them, don't be afraid. It's me. And now, only the Gospel of Matthew tells us what happened later. And it tells us that Peter, said, if it is you, give me in order to come to you. Kepha was always, Peter, as we call him, different than the others. He was always the leader. Show me that it is you by letting me go on the water. Now, of course, the Lord told him, Peter, come. And we know what happened. Now, what is the meaning of the walking on the water? Jesus called Himself the Son of Man and the Son of God. In John chapter 1, after people called Him so many other names, the end of John chapter 1 is that now you will see angels are coming down and up on the Son of Man. And actually all around Jesus acted like Son of Man. But look, only in the most dark part of the night, when nobody was around, no one saw what happened, He showed Himself as Son of God. You see the point? He showed Himself as the Son of God on the 4th shift of the night. To whom? Only Matthew is reminding us this happening. Even the other Gospels, they don't remind us. So when Jesus was here on earth, most of the time He wanted to show Himself as Son of Man. And we understand why. Because we are all like Peter. We are all have lack of faith. And that's why He came to be with us, in order to encourage us on going on this earth. That's why He told him, don't be afraid, it's me. And that's what He says today. Don't be afraid. I came as the Son of Man to encourage you. Trust in me and put all your faith on